Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon,
And I'm Mom.
and we thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on the show.
Yes, thank you for joining again today.
Yeah, we always love doing this. And Mom, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine, Brandon. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, and I heard we're continuing with our theme for the month.
Yes, we are. We are still continuing with our theme, which is revivals, sequels, and restructuring of TV shows.
Yes, and Mom, what are we speaking about here today?
Today we're going to talk about Fuller House.
Yes, this is a sequel series to the series Full House. This one has run from 2016 to 2020.
Yes. And then just to get us started, I'm going to talk a little bit just about the episode itself. In this particular episode, as we continue from Full House, DJ Tanner has spent the last year with her father after the death of her husband. She is raising her three sons. And then Danny is actually ready to sell their childhood home. So all of the family, except for Michelle, is able to come to visit one last time before the sale of the home. And then toward the end of the episode, we find out that Danny decides that DJ can continue living in the house, and Stephanie and Kimmy both agree to help raise DJ's children.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Yeah, and the series ultimately continues on with that premise with DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy all raising DJ's children alongside Kimmy's daughter, Ramona.
Yes.
And Mom, what do you think about this first episode of the show titled Our Very First Show Again?
You know, Brandon, I liked it. I really did. We saw this, just to give some background for our audience, much later than a lot of people did. We did not have Netflix at the time, and so we waited a little longer, and we finally saw it, and we were looking forward to it. And we, the whole family, we all sat together and watched it. And I think, in fact, we binged it during one of our holiday breaks. And so we really enjoyed what we saw. I like the way they the way they continued on the series. This is speaking for myself. I like the way they continued on. I like the way that they then at the same time reflected back to some of the things that happened in the first series. And so I thought they did a great job of connecting the dots and then kind of even speaking about some things that, for example, Michelle was not on this episode, but yet at the same time, they kind of, I know that they did reach out to the Olsen twins before they taped this episode. And so it was interesting the way they addressed the audience with it. But nevertheless, they kind of, everything they kept everything very positive. And I thought they did a nice job with the show.
Oh, I definitely believe that they did a great job with the show as well. And I think what is sort of amazing with how they approached, especially this first episode here, is that they took a lot of time to provide closure to the original series Full House while also starting a new beginning. But you can see that they took time and they even modernized the house a little bit.
Yeah, they did do that. Yes.
Yeah, and you can see just sort of like the subtle changes that they made, like, some of the wallpapers update a little bit, new. It feels like it took place in 2016 and not necessarily picking up from where it left off.
Yeah, you could tell that they did that. And then I like that they gave the backstory for everybody, which was really nice that they kind of explained what people have been up to, who they were currently married to, and then, and then even going back so much as the friends with Kimmy and with Steve and explaining them also and what they've been up to. So I like that they did that. And I like that they poked fun at this up at the same time.
Yeah, and before we actually touch on the theme song in a moment, I want to actually briefly speak about, the opening scene of the series.
Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so whereas, most shows open up with a theme song for the show that you're watching, this one actually opened up to the very beginning of the Full House opening credits. And so you have, the opening scenes with them, of course, playing around just like any other Full House episode. And then you cut to 29 years later, and then here you have the updated house, and you get to see the original cast members all introduce themselves, again, as they sort of walk back into the scene. And all of them are introduced before we really get to see any of the new cast members. And I think that's a really clever way of making a show that both is a sequel to the original, but also continues with it, that they needed no introduction. They just walked on in, yeah, as if they're still there, and then all the new characters are introduced.
Yes, they did a nice job establishing everybody. So I agree with you totally there, Brandon.
Yeah, and I know back when we started these TV discussions, we'd mentioned like where did the exposition come from? In this case, they use Baby Tommy Jr. as a way to sort of reintroduce everything, as that is who everyone was sort of playing around with and speaking with for the original introductions.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, and did you feel like this was an effective way to introduce the show or reintroduce the audience?
I thought it was an effective way because it goes back to a little bit with Michelle and how they kind of let her be. At that time, she was the not meant to be, but I think became one of the stars of the show. And so they did use that baby premise in order to kind of have everything go around. And so they used Tommy in the same regards, at least in the beginning part of this series.
Yeah, and speaking of beginning of series, are we able to speak about the theme song?
Absolutely love the theme song. It's, I'm always all about the long theme songs, and I like the way that they incorporated the theme song and the pictures. I really like the pictures that went along with it and how they went with the old and the new next to each other, and I thought they did a really nice job of recreating that.
Yeah, I certainly love it as well. And I think that it really brought in the nostalgia that you're able to see the original scenes, yeah, as they come in and then them in the present day. And even for the returning cast as special guest stars towards the end of the theme song.
Yes, yes, I really like that, and that actually stood out to me more when they had Joey, Jesse, and Danny. Their scenes, I thought they did a nice job of kind of recreating that.
Yeah, even Aunt Becky and the twins.
Yes, yes, really, really good job.
And yeah, and I like I said, the overall updated premise of the show and what they were trying to do. But I like that it feels a bit natural, that it doesn't feel, at least for this first episode, that it's a catch up with what we've been doing over these last, 20 years or so. That instead it feels more like a natural progression in the sense that, at least in my opinion, where Kimmy comes in and and she truly hasn't seen everyone together, in at least a decade, and the characters aren't trying to do a giant reintroduction of themselves per se, but instead they're just like, hey, it's been a while, and here we are, just just as it always has been.
Yes, yeah, I agree too, Brandon. I They did a good job with that.
Yeah, and I think while this approach was shifted a bit, quite a bit, as the show continued on with more direct callbacks to the show and to the original show, I think this first episode was very effective in that they truly just let time be its own factor, and so everyone sort of moved on with their lives, and I think that is most evident with Danny and his new wife.
Yeah, the new wife that they mentioned, I think one time, I think there, and then she's there, and I don't know if we see her again, but she is in this one episode, and but they do help to establish that Danny and what I will say I do like that they did have him married because it showed that he did progress with his life, like the other two, and that he actually was moving on with someone else when he goes to work with this new TV series with Becky.
Yep, Wake Up USA.
Yes, yes. Okay. And so everyone who watches the show will know that it's reflecting back to the Wake Up San Francisco show.
Absolutely. And we do know what Joey's new job is and Uncle Jesse's new job.
Yes, we do. We do. It's nice that they showed that they had new jobs and that they progressed in their lives and that they did not stay in this house their whole lives.
As nice as that would have been. But, Mom, did you want to share what Uncle Jesse's new job is?
Let's see. Uncle Jesse is. Oh yes. How could I forget? Uncle Jesse is works with music in General Hospital. I don't know how I could forget that. and then, Joey's new job is working. Well, he's continuing to work in Las Vegas as a comedian.
But yeah, I love that they're able able to use all these fun callbacks in this first episode to both the original series and real life.
Yes, yes. And for those people who don't know, Uncle Jesse slash John Stamos played on General Hospital. He played Blackie Parrish years ago.
And yeah, I mean, I think that overall, this first episode does a good job at sort of, like I said, reintroducing the show. But I want to speak about some of the new characters that we have.
All right, Brandon, who do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so first of all, we have sort of taken the premise of the original show and we have sort of gender flipped it, where instead of free dads raising free girls, we now have the free older people from the original show, DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy, now raising DJ's free sons.
Yes, we do. They do. And I like that they all get along so well. But of course, this by talking about this reaches beyond the first episode. And just so the audience knows, we have seen all the episodes of Fuller House. But yes, for the first episode, it does establish that these are the three who will be working with or helping to raise the children.
Yeah, and I definitely really enjoy the dynamic of this, that we sort of get to see. Yeah, and I'm so glad that they did this sort of next generation approach, and that they're sort of repeating the same premise, but the other way around. And I think it is able to show the growth of the original characters, while also using that as sort of a reflection to the new characters.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Brandon.
But we do have one thing that's a little different.
And what's different?
We now have Ramona.
Yes, we do have Ramona because Kimmy has a daughter now. And I think that out of all the kids, Ramona's the one for me that stands out as a character for the kids. And so, yes, we do have Ramona. And then we also have someone else who pops in there too. Although we're given the name in the first episode and things, but Kimmy's ex-husband actually plays a big part in actually helping them also.
Yes, and we do very briefly see Fernando in this first episode as he drops off Ramona. And yes, as you mentioned, he does become a regular beginning in season 2 and for the rest of the series.
Yes. Yeah.
Not to mention that unlike the other regulars that join later in the series, he's actually added to the theme song beginning in season 2.
Yeah, out of all the people, except for the children are all added on there. But yeah, he is the only one out of the group to be added on as a regular.
Yeah, and I feel like even in this first episode, I feel like his presence stands out.
Yeah, he does. He has a big personality on the show. So yes, he does stand out.
And yeah, and overall, I like that. Correct me if you feel any differently, but I like that overall this episode does not feel like a giant game of catch up, nor is it a 100% repeat of the similarly named first episode of Full House, but instead it's able to do its own thing, numerous different things, but do it well in a way that shapes the rest of the series to come.
Yep, I agree with you completely there.
Yeah, and something that's a little bit different is that, of course, while we're still in a sitcom format, we now have moved from linear television on broadcast to now on Netflix, as this was a Netflix original series.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Brandon?
Yeah, so for Fuller House, it had 5 seasons overall, 75 episodes in total, but it only had 7 official releases over the 5 seasons, and so for each of the release windows, all episodes would drop at once to encourage you to binge all the episodes as they came out. And so, as a little, I guess, wink wink at ABC's TGIF, Netflix actually had their own little tagline, which was hashtag TGI anytime.
Yeah. Well, that's a cute little wink. Wink link.
But yes, I overall feel that this was able to give the show a little bit of a different identity and a different fan base sort of to it, but it also made it a binging show. I mean, not that people weren't already binge watching the original series and marathons, but this one definitely was allowed the characters to have overarching plots that spanned the whole seasons. And I should say largely the adult characters are the ones that got the overarching plot.
Yes, and we did binge.
Yes, and you alluded to it a little bit beforehand, but when we got Netflix, it was December 2017, and at that point, the second part of season 3 had just come out.
We were just a little behind.
But yeah, so nothing like a free season binge.
Yes, over our holiday break.
Absolutely. But Mom, is there anything else that you want to highlight for the show and what it was able to do and accomplish.
No, I thought it accomplished quite a bit, and like I said, really, really enjoyed it. And I thought they did a good job with making connections, and then going out on its own. Also, can we talk a little bit about some of the initiating plots points in this particular show?
Oh yeah, we can go right ahead with the initiating events.
Okay, and the initiating event for this particular series really had to deal with the sale of the house because that is what actually brought everyone together. Then, of course, with DJ also living with her father for the course of close to a year, and so for me, those were the two initiating points that kind of stood out. And with that, the show was able to kind of branch out on its own.
Yeah, it really was. And I like that it was able to, of course, reflect the initiating event of Full House, which was of course, the passing of DJ's mother, I believe 6 months earlier. I found it interesting this one did a year, which makes sense. But I like that they were able to reflect it while also doing it in sort of its own way. Whereas from what the way it looks like is that in the original show, Danny asked for his best friend and brother-in-law to move in, whereas in this one, the dads and Aunt Becky were all ready to do it all over again for DJ this time around. But it was Stephanie that stood up and said, I want to be there for my sister. And Kimmy's like, I've always wanted to move into this house. I'll do it too.
Yes, yes. And Brandon, what kind of connections did we have with this for any other shows?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and of course the big one, of course, is its preceding show, Full House, which had run from 1987 to 1995. And it also has a connection through writer Jeff Franklin and his company, Jeff Franklin Productions. And Mom, do you know whatever show Jeff Franklin made?
I should. Go ahead, Brandon, tell us.
So the other show that he made outside of Full House and Fuller House is Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yes. I don't know why I never remember that, Brandon. Thank you for letting us know.
Of course. And yeah, outside of that, though, it's also produced by Miller Boyette Productions. It was resurrected specifically for the series. And we spoke about quite a few shows made by Miller Boyette over the years.
All right, Brandon, name them.
Yeah, so hopefully I don't miss out on any, but that is Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, Family Matters, Full House, The Hogan Family, Perfect Strangers, Step by Step, and I think I hit them all. That at least all the ones that we've previously discussed, alongside a majority of everything that was on TGIF. Not exactly everything, but majority of it.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, I think you hit them all, and as the people can tell, we have certain people we like to talk about. I think Miller Boyette series are ones that we really like.
Absolutely, and so it was nice that, of course, they were able to, return back for the show, and so those are the primary connections that we have. Oh, and we do have another one, Mom, if you'd like to share about Danny's wife.
Oh yes, well we have two in that regards. Then Natalia, we have Eva LaRue, who plays on General Hospital. She plays Natalia on there. Then of course we have John Stamos because he played on General Hospital also, playing Blackie Parrish as I mentioned previously.
Yeah, so quite a bit of connections, and Eva LaRue now plays Danny's wife Terry, who loves Danny very much, but not enough to be in more episodes than this one.
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Like I always do, I always rate the shows between 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. And with Fuller House, I would give this a strong 4. So for me, like a B plus equivalent. And it's because I thought they did a really nice job with this.
Oh, I 100% agree with Strong 4. I feel like there are so many things that are happening in the episode, but it works. And I think that is the big thing. I mean, it's really able to evoke nostalgia while also beginning a new beginning for the franchise. And so I fully agree with you.
All right. Anything else that we need to discuss about Fuller House, Brand?
Well, I wanted to quickly just note that I'd actually spoken about the show in my master's thesis, and so as one of the 3 major case studies. And so I thought it was just really interesting to dive into the show for that, and especially to do it here with you, Mom.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing with you too, Brandon. It's been very insightful for you to let me know about things that have gone on with the show. So yes, I've enjoyed the discussion that we had, along with our off-camera discussions that we've had about Fuller House.
Yes, I definitely have enjoyed it. And yeah, like I said, but this was episode 1 of Fuller House from February 26, 2016. Can you believe that was that long ago?
That is so hard to believe. So hard to believe. All right. And we thank everybody from watching today.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I hope that you continue with us as we begin to end out the month of March.
Yes, we look forward to our series that's coming in April. So follow us along.
Yes, and have a great day.
All right. Bye bye, everybody.